Assalamu alaikum viewers. I am Muhammad Sadaqat Ali. Welcome you all to my channel Learn English with Sadi. If you want to enhance, if you want to modify, and if you want to correct your knowledge about the basic concepts of English grammar, English literature, or English linguistics, subscribe my channel, like and watch my videos. Today, we shall study some of the basic concepts of phonology like the phoneme, the allophone, minimal pair, blends, digraphs, and trigraphs. Most of people among us are basically confused among the concepts like blends, digraphs, and trigraphs. So, here in this video, we shall study in detail and discuss what are the basic differences between these two, digraph and blends, and how we may classify them or how we may differentiate between both of them. So, stay tuned. First of all, we shall revise or we shall uh, discuss the basic the first concept, that is about the phoneme. As you know, we studied in detail what actually phoneme or how the phonemes are classified into the consonants and vowels, and how what is the total number of phonemes in English. So it's just an overview, it's just a sort of summary about the phoneme. A phoneme is basically the basic unit of speech sound in English. It is also known as segment or a sound segment or a segment of speech sounds. So, phoneme is the basic unit of speech sound, and we also know that there are a total number of 44 phonemes in English, out of which 24 are the consonants and the 20 are vowels. So that was an overview to phonemes. If you want to study the detail of phonemes, how and what are the consonant sounds and what are the vowel sounds in English, you may click on the link given in the description box. So let us now move on towards the consonant cluster that we also call the consonant blends in English. And we may define the consonant cluster or the consonant blends as a group of consonant sounds or the group of consonant phonemes that appear in a word either at the initial or at the final position, and each consonant has its own sound. It means all the consonants, they would have the independent sounds, but they come together in a word. So this phenomena would be called as the consonant cluster or the consonant blends. For example, if we talk about the initial blends in English, I have mentioned some of the examples like the cricket. The bold segment of this word cricket is CR. Both these consonants are at the initial position of the word cricket, and they just go side by side. They don't have any other vowel between them. So these are the initial blends. Since both C and R have their own independent sound that is pronounced separately, so it is called blend. You have to keep this in your mind that the consonants appearing together in a word having their separate sounds while they are pronounced, so that you may be able to understand the next concept, that is about the digraphs and trigraphs. If you keep this point in your minds, you would be able to understand the digraphs and the trigraphs more effectively. So the next example is stamp. Stamp. You may see that the letters S and T both are the consonants, but they both have the independent sounds being pronounced in the word stamp. Next is sleep, sleep. S and L. These are the sounds that are being pronounced independently in the word sleep. And same is the case with the next examples: trip, frog, flag, and so on. So in these examples, the blend is appearing at the initial position, at the starting position of the word. So these are the initial blends. Same is the case with the final blends. The difference is that these blends appear at the ending position of the word. So these blends like last, rust, cycle, hand, lamp, gift, etc. In these examples, the blend or the consonant cluster appears at the final or the ending position of the word. So these are the final blends. And the next concept that we are going to study now is the minimal pair. Minimal pair, it means it is about a pair of words that differ with a single phoneme, either a consonant or a vowel, but there would be the difference of one phoneme between the two words. For example, I've mentioned word pat, P-A-T, pat. This is a word, but if we replace the central vowel from the word pat and replace it with e, it becomes pet. So it is a minimal pair because both these words pat and pet differ with only one phoneme, and that phoneme could be a vowel or also a consonant. That doesn't matter. Similarly, if we look at the two words or a pair of words pat and bat, in both these words a consonant letter differs, like p and b. These two consonants differ and produce a new word. Similarly, if we look at the words or the examples that I've mentioned: pat, bat, cat, rat, hat. In all these words, only one uh, consonant differs or um, is replaced by another consonant. All these words pat, bat, cat, rat, hat have at the end, while the first consonant gets replaced by another one, and we get a new word. So these are the minimal pair. If we discuss, or if we look at the words from top to bottom in a column, we see that pat and pet, it's also a pair. Why is it minimal pair? Because in both these words only a single vowel is replaced by another one. Same is the case with bat and bet, cat and set, rat and hat, net and get. So these, if we pick up any two of the words from these examples, that would become a minimal pair. If we pick the word pat and pet, in both these words a single vowel is being replaced. So it's a minimal pair. So the next concept of phonology is the allophones. Allophones, we we may get the idea from this term itself that it's about the phones or the sounds. So how we may define it properly is the phonetic variants of a phoneme are called allophones. It means that if there is some variation of a phoneme, whether it be its pronunciation, whether it be its written form or anything else, whenever there is a variation in a phoneme, both that both all those variants would be called as the allophones. I repeat, the phonetic variants of a phoneme, whether those variants, whatever that number of those variants is, we call all those variants as allophones. That was the definition of allophones. So how the phoneme vary depends upon some phenomena like aspiration. We know that we pronounce p, t, and k in two ways. If these three sounds appear at the beginning as the first letter of a word, it is usually aspirated. For example, simply we speak or we pronounce t, t, but if t is at the initial or the first initial position of the word, it's th. It's not t, it's th. This phenomena is known as aspiration. Same is the case with the other phonemes p and k. If these three sounds appear at the beginning of a word or as the first letter of the word, they are usually aspirated or pronounced with simple explosion p, th, k. But if these three sounds appear at the middle or at the end of any word, they would be pronounced as we usually speak, like t, p, k. So these both or all these are the variants or the allophones. The allophones p and p, t and th, k and k. These are all the allophones. For example, if we look at the first example, step, just try to speak step. The t is in the middle of the word, so it's not aspirated. Same is the case with stock. Stock, it has two sounds t and k. Step also has the two sounds t and p. Next one is scout. K and t, both the sounds appear in this word. We see that t, p, k, these three sounds appear in the previous three examples, in the previous three words, but they are the spoken simply as we usually speak, pronounce as t, k, and p. But if these three sounds or any of these three sounds appear at the initial position of a word, they would we must speak or pronounce them in as aspirated ones. So the next word is top. We see that t is the first letter of the word, so it would be pronounced with aspiration as top. We won't speak top. We will call it or speak it as top. Next one is pack, cat, kite. In the third example or the second last example, cat, it's cat. As we know that the letter C itself does not contain any sound. Either it's pronounced as S or K. So in this word, it's the K sound, and since it's at the beginning of the word, so it would be aspirated as K, cat. I hope you get it. So the next phenomena or the next one is long and short vowels. These long and short sounds of a same vowel would also be called as the allophones, like slip and sleep. E sound is pronounced shortly in slip, while it's elongated in the next word sleep. We studied this in detail in the previous video about the vowel sounds or the vocalids. You may, if you want to revise it or review it, go to that video and create clarify your concepts. So the next one is put. P-U-T, put. U sound is produced or pronounced shortly, but in the next example, stool, the U sound is elongated. So these long and short sounds of a same vowel are also called as the allophones. The next and the last concept that we are going to study today is about the graph. Before starting it, I would like to differentiate between the phone and the graph. Phone, as the word itself describes, is about the sounds. Whenever we speak, the sound of any phoneme we produce is the phone, while the written form would be called as the graph. I mean to say that the sounds that we are producing are the phones, but when we write or symbolize those sounds, we write those sounds, that written form is called the graph or the graphic. So we divide or classify the graph into two major categories: digraph and trigraph. As the name, both these terms itself describe that the digraph is a sound or a single sound that is produced with the help of, yeah, with the combination of two letters, two consonants. You need to keep the basic concept of the consonant cluster or the consonant blend in mind. The consonant blends have the individual or separate sounds, but here in this concept of the digraph, two letters t and h, for example, are different consonants, but both these combine to form or to produce a new sound, th. It's not t or not h, but it's th, as I have used the symbol in front of this digraph. So these two sounds combine to produce a new single sound or the symbol. So it's called the digraph. Next one is P and H. It's not P or not either H. It's F as in phone. So these two phonemes P and H combine to form the F or produce the F sound. Same is the case with the third digraph, that is sh. It's not either s or h, it's sh. So s and h, both these letters combine to form the sh sound. So these are the major three digraphs. In digraphs, two consonants combine to produce a one single new sound. So if we now move on towards the trigraph, it's evident from the term itself that three letters will combine to produce one new sound. For example, t, k, and h. These three letters combine to form ch, as in match, catch, fetch. The next one is I, G, and H. These three letters combine to form a vowel sound I, as in high, as in thigh, as in. So the next one is D, D, J. These three letters D, G, and E combine to form the sound J. Lodge, as in dodge, as in uh, bodge, badge. So these are the trigraphs. I repeat, when two different consonants combine to form a single new sound, it's digraph. And when three different consonants or three different letters combine to produce a single new sound, it's called the trigraph. And you must keep in mind the difference between the consonant blend and the digraphs and trigraphs. In digraphs or trigraphs, the letters, two or three letters, combine to produce one single sound, but in the blends, the two or three letters or consonant letters, they they appear in combined form, but those consonants will have their own separate sound. This is the major difference between the blends and the digraphs and trigraphs. So viewers, that was all for today. Thank you very much for being with me, for taking this lesson. Like this video and comment in case of any query. Subscribe my channel for more updates. Allah Hafiz.